And we're back once again with another rank battle. This time we're playing the gearing. If you might have noticed, I've recently released a gearing guide where I cover both rank battles and random battles. This is going to be, I don't want to think of it as an extension. I want to think of this as like a kind of a general way to play from behind, and it just so happens that I'm playing the gearing. Or not so much when you're playing behind, but when you get absolutely dumpstered early in the game and you have to kind of tactically play from behind from your own ship's perspective, not from like an actual team perspective. And this is going to be a really interesting game to kind of discuss that. Kind of the do's, the don'ts, what to do, what not to do, and how to go about actually being effective and not just dying after losing like a lot of HP or something like that. So, looking at the teams, they have a Kurfürst, 2 Kremlins, Smolensk. They did have a Salem, but he got dumpstered. Shimakaze and a Haragumo. Now, that being said, on the other side of the map we can see the Shimakaze. What that means is that the Haragumo has capped B and is now pushing towards me. Now I do have the Henry for support, but in no way, shape or form, any day of the week, can I 1v1 a Haragumo. At least I don't think I can. Anytime I've tried, it doesn't end well. So, that being said, what we should be aiming to do on this flank is just hold. We're just here to hold, launch torps obviously, maybe get a hit or two. But again, our aim isn't to be spotted, our aim isn't actually to kill enemy DDs. Because, you know, if you look at the overall picture, you can see we've killed 2 of their ships, we're about to cap A. There's no reason to push, we just play it calm, play it cool, and be patient. And that's something I think a lot of players really fail to grasp. That the fact that you just don't need to win harder, and I discussed this in earlier videos too, but I think it's such an important point. And this is, what is this camera bug? Like the camera gets so messed up here. Look, this is me trying to zoom in and zoom out. I think it only happens though when you zoom in on torps and you want to get a really accurate torp run. The camera just messes up. So this is me just gonna desperately trying to fix the camera some way and trying to avoid torps and avoid being shot at by 15 different ships. Well, as I mentioned earlier, this is the point where you're like, oh god, this is kind of game over for me. I can't really be effective in the game anymore. False. You can always be effective in the game. So the gearing and the Haragumo is there. So again, we're down to 4,500 HP. Smolensk just dodges our torps. But again, overall we're still in a pretty strong position. You know, all I have to do is really stay alive, and at this point we're in a pretty strong winning position. So me not dying is actually a really large positive for my team, because I can still obviously spot, I can still obviously be slightly effective. But again, we're kind of giving up on C a little bit now, just because of the fact that, well, we have a Yama and a gearing that's almost dead, so there's not actually much defending we can do. But they don't seem all that intent on pushing, which is good for us. Again, their right hand flank pretty much collapsed. They only have the Kurfürst there and the Kremlin. The Kremlin is showing beautiful broadside. And again, we're still in the cap, we're still slightly defending. We just want to hold on to this as long as possible, so we can get as many points as possible before it actually eventually goes to the enemy team. There's no way to avoid that at this point. But again, see, once you get dropped so low, you're basically a torpedo. You basically have to switch your mindset from being a hybrid to you're basically Shimakaze without the highly effective torps or concealment. Again, the Kremlin's trying to dodge away. I think he fat. See, the thing with these torps is that they don't get detected until 1.4 kilometers from the ship. So I think he's actually trying to angle against the Yamato, and by doing so he successfully dodges some of my torps. But that being said, we do get, I think, 3 hits. Yeah, we get 3 hits, 2 floodings, and overall a really good result, which wouldn't have happened if I had just gotten if I didn't have the patience to actually dodge or kind of how do I put it? More kind of the actual kind of fortitude to actually survive that earlier encounter and not just go, oh well, I got caught out, I'm dead, I'm just gonna sail straight forward or something like that. You know, if you have to be always thinking of, okay, if I don't die here, how big of an effect that is on the game. And it's massive. Like I always say, especially when you're playing DDs, if you can survive the first 3 to 5, maybe 7 minutes, you're going to be highly effective for the rest of the game. Pretty much regardless of what actually happens. Just because DDs are such a strong class overall. But again, the Kremlin here, he's stuck in a really bad spot. I torp behind him, I torp in front of him in case he actually wants to try and go either way. He decides to keep reversing. I just basically want to force his damage gun before he actually gets hit by the torps. That way, if I get a flooding, it will stick. But I don't think that's even going to be necessary. Yep, and we pick up the kill on the Kremlin. 3-1. We have lost the Salem. No, wait, have we lost the Salem? No, we lost the Henry, obviously, earlier on. That's why we had to give up control of C. Now, at this point, I'm a bit worried about torps coming from C. The Haragumo and the Gearing have gained control, and I'm in a pretty vulnerable position. So that's why I'm kind of angling out, getting ready to go, getting ready to move. Even though I still have a minute on my smoke, I'm constantly thinking about what could possibly go wrong from this position. And, as we expected, there's the Gearing torps.
Engine boost deactivated.
We successfully avoid them, and now we're in a really good position because, well, the Haragumo probably isn't going to come that close to drop off torps into smoke, and the Gearing just used his smoke, or his torps. So the threat from that position is pretty much neutralized. And now we just have to deal with these cruisers. Like, I'm going to probably keep sailing. Again, this is my first time watching this since playing it. But again, these are more speculative torps that I just threw out, just an off chance that the crew first starts pushing in.
Nice work.
Just to cover that area. And again, Haragumo goes down. That means suddenly I switch. I'm like, okay, now we can maybe contest C. The Yamo's pushing in. The Yamo? What the hell? The Yamo's pushing in. And maybe I can push bow in. And maybe we can actually contest the cap. You know? Why not? We'll give it a go. We're up 4-2. It's looking unlikely that we're going to lose. So why not give it a go? Again, these torps are really close to hitting the Smolensk. He sees them now. He decides to try and accelerate. What? We don't get them. That being said, suddenly a full HP Gearing pops up right in front of us. And I was just thinking, well, this was fun.
Smoke
GG. Immediately I pop smoke though. Just trying to avoid as much damage as possible. And now at this point, obviously, I'm thinking he's going to torp me. I'm dead. It's GG. So I immediately accelerate out of the smoke and try and dodge away. Now, I'm thinking in my mind, and luckily he sends his torps towards the Yamato. I'm thinking in my mind, where would he go in the smoke? Would he reverse, like DDs usually do in smoke? Or would he actually accelerate away? And I'm thinking he'd actually accelerate away because sticking that close in smoke doesn't actually make sense. And I guessed correctly. And we get the kill. And with that, we pretty much secure the game. I think a lot of that had to do actually too with the fact that my bow was actually damage saturated. So it wasn't actually taking all that much damage by going bow in against the Gearing. And of course, making yourself as small as possible in a DD is always a good thing. And you throw in a little flick here and there just to kind of throw them off when they're shooting at you. But all that's really left to do is just basically cap C. And we have complete control of the game. And again, you'll notice in the first couple of minutes I went down from 22,900 HP to about 4,000 HP. And then for the rest of the game, I've only lost 3000 HP. That's how you need to play DDs. You can never really give up. You always have to try and be effective, regardless of how low you are or how one-shottable you are. You always got to be thinking of how can I be most effective. And I think this game is a good example of that. Again, we see the curve first opening up. We're thinking, where's he going to go? Where's he going to turn? Is he actually going to show full broadside to Yamato? Turns out he actually is. Then again, the curve first is incredibly difficult to Citadel. But that being said, I have Citadeled them before. Strangely enough, in a Minotaur,
Engine boost
the plunging shells actually seem to pen really well through the deck. The deck of the curvers. I was so surprised when I got a Citadel once. Just looping shells from the Minotaur into the curve first. But it is possible. Now at this point I get a little bit greedy, wanting to end the game. So I start trying to farm him, trying to kill him. Start firing some shells. The secondary start focusing me. He fires a massive salvo at me and I do drop, unfortunately. But I do get a flesh wound. And with that, it's pretty much GG. As we can see. So it's GG. I hope you learned something. And I'll see you in the next one.